So the last video just explained these identities, and on this page I'm just going to list them for you. You need to know these identities. Fortunately, they're pretty easy to remember. Just remember you're doing the complementary angle. They're called the complementary angle identities. So you're using the complementary angle, and you have to know which functions pair up. So cosine and sine pair up. Cosine of x equals sine of the quantity pi over 2 minus x. Sine x equals cosine of the quantity pi over 2 minus x. Tangent equals cotangent of the quantity pi over 2 minus x. Secant x equals cosecant of pi over 2 minus x. Cosecant x equals secant of pi over 2 minus x. And cotangent x equals tangent of pi over 2 minus x. So you'd have to know which one's paired with which. Cosine and sine are paired up. Tangent and cotangent are paired up. And secant and cosecant are paired up. And notice the inside, on the right-hand side, the inside of that trig function is always pi over 2 minus x. It's always the same thing. Not x minus pi over 2. Pi over 2 minus x, that's the complementary angle of x. Okay? So kind of in sloppy shorthand, you would say cosine is the complement of sine, tangent's the complement of cotangent, secant's the complement of cosecant. That's really sloppy language, but it's kind of a way to remember it. So that's the end of that. That's the end of that section, finally. It's a very long section. There's a lot of material in it. What you need to do, if you haven't been doing that up to this point, is go back and look at each video and make sure you have each one down before you move on. And if you are forgetting stuff from previous sections, you have to go back and review the previous sections. Because this stuff is all tied together. And if you forget earlier stuff, the later stuff just becomes baffling. Okay, and you want to have all this stuff up to this point down really, really well. Because otherwise it's going to get too confusing and you'll get lost. So spend the time to get it down solid. Do the exercises. Maybe when you do practice, maybe do some extra practice ones to really, really get this down and try to understand everything. If you try to memorize without understanding, it's going to become too much. So try to memorize with understanding. Memorize the reasons for things and the pictures and all of that stuff.